questions as we go along, please add them into the question box and we will address them at the end as time permits. I am Ed Peck, a cybersecurity consultant here at Evolver. Today I'm introducing two industry thought leaders. First is Mr. Rick Borden, counsel at Robinson & Cole. One focus of Rick's practice is cybersecurity risk management, where his outreach often alerts the business community to the risks and vulnerabilities in the cyber network. And second is Mr. Chip Block, Vice President at Evolver. Chip works extensively in the areas of cyber research and advises Evolver's clients on cyber operations, risk, and insurance. He is the architect of the cyber risk ecosystem. Both of these gentlemen are frequent speakers at industry events, and while they were panelists at the recent Security of Things conference in Cambridge, Massachusetts, the New York Department of Financial Services proposed cyber regulations were released. Rick and Chip both agreed that it is important to start a discussion for financial organizations to make sense of these regulations and to help organize a plan to ensure compliance. Rick, why don't you tell us about the most critical details of this proposed regulation?
Hi, thank you very much, Ed. So the thing that I'd like to get across first is that this regulation is different than, I think, almost anything that we've seen before, certainly in the cybersecurity space. And I think one of the key pieces of this is that with all the stuff that we'll be talking about later, CEO or the chairman of the board of directors is going to be responsible for certifying compliance with the regulation. And that is going to be based on the documents, reports, certifications, opinions of officers, employees, representatives, outside vendors, and others as necessary to get that information to make the certification. That is a game changer. The CEO is going to have to understand and be responsible for it. And not only is that the case, but this regulation also goes beyond protection of personal information, privacy, which most regulation has really been covering. This has an intense focus on data and systems integrity and availability. And that is also a big difference from a regulatory standpoint. So what are the dates? Department of Financial Services released this on September 13th. It was published in the New York Register on September 28th. There's a 45-day comment period. It is scheduled to go into effect January 1st. There are 180 days to come into compliance, and that is going to mean putting in multiple policies, some of which are very detailed and extensive in their requirements and the requirements of how those procedures associated with them are going to need to be put in place. And then January 15th, 2018 is the first CEO or chairman of the board certification. So let's go into the key elements of what it is that is included in the regulation itself. So what we have, DFS, Department of Financial Services, has the regulation has a huge amount of detail and information in it, and it is actually very tightly drafted, although there are some issues with some of the drafting, but it all works together in a coordinated fashion. There are policies and procedures. There are 7 policies that need to be created. There are associated procedures that have to be developed with each of the policies. There are assessments and reports that go along with it, and then there are a set of required actions. One of the touch points of it, the centerpiece, is the written cybersecurity policy. Now, many companies have written cybersecurity policies already, this is different. This makes what is included in the cybersecurity policy under this regulation goes beyond the requirements of